review some of the key definitions. First, we're going to go over the qualified guest with a disability. It's a guest who requires an accessible stateroom due to mobility or other disability. So that's not somebody who just wants a larger stateroom at a cheaper rate. So obviously somebody has to have some sort of disability. And then we also have a super category. A super category is a grouping of staterooms based on a general characteristic. It's not the location on the ship, it's not how much the staterooms are, it's on general characteristics of those rooms. Anyone have any examples of a super category?
The crown loft with the elevator.
We had a super category, not a category, a super category. Well, the crown loft is a suite, right? So the crown loft would have been a super category. A balcony isn't, that's a category. But let's say a D1, that's a super category.
What?
Okay, so there's categories, right? We have regular categories. A category like a balcony, just general balcony stateroom. Balcony stateroom. We have suites, a suite. Well, I'm not going to say suite stateroom, but we have suites. Then we also have interiors and we have ocean views. Now, what kind of interiors do we have? We have M's. That's a super category. That's an actual type of category, a small category to that category. I know that sounded really awesome. But a super category is the actual, the groupings that we have for those staterooms. Okay? Does that make more sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So the new super categories that we're going to be having, which we've already listed out some of those before, we're going to have the AL, which is going to be the accessible loft suites. We're going to have the AW, which is the accessible suites. This makes you think of guarantees because it's the same type of categories. AN and AZ, that's the accessible neighborhood and accessible balcony staterooms. We consider those two to be in the same super category. Note that it is on your vacation. Or maybe you should write it on your vacation. It's not your vacation.
Should it be AX?
Should it be AX? It's AZ.
Is it AZ inside?
Oh, is that?
That's a typo.
It's AX on our sheets. Yeah.
I've already looked at
So
it.
that's
on
AX.
AX.
X is a guarantee.
What is it?
Neighborhood guarantee.
It's just
A with a
AW
guarantee.
is an accessible ocean view, and then we have AZ, which is the accessible interior, right? And it's accessible. For the policy, if there is no this is really important, so please pay attention. If there is no accessible stateroom available in the requested open category, but there is an available accessible stateroom in the same super category or next super category up, we will allow the guest to reserve the lowest accessible stateroom at the price of 1, originally requested open category, or 2, the category of the accessible stateroom, whichever is lower. So what that means in layman's terms here, if you have a guest and they want an interior accessible stateroom, right? We have no interior accessible staterooms available. The next step we have available is an ocean view accessible stateroom, right? They already asked you for the interior accessible that we do not have. We will offer them the ocean view accessible stateroom at the rate of the interior accessible
This is
stateroom.
only for accessible state.
Correct.
Even a suite.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
If there's an interior room.
This is exactly how it goes. If they want an ocean view balcony stateroom, we do not have an ocean view balcony accessible stateroom available. We have a junior suite accessible stateroom available. We will do it for junior suite as well. And we will always do the upgrade. We will not do a downgrade. So if somebody wants an ocean view balcony or an ocean view stateroom, and when I mean stateroom, I mean accessible stateroom. We have an ocean view stateroom or accessible stateroom, and we only have, an interior accessible stateroom or a balcony accessible stateroom. The first thing you're going to mention is the balcony stateroom. Okay? Icebreakers.
Can we upsell that though, or we have to offer them the?
We are required by law to offer it automatically.
By that point, you've already
Questions?
spoken about their accessibility needs, and so you're already into that category where you don't want to start trying to charge them for more, because you could then get a suit
Right.
at
Yeah.
that point.
Yes, it will be sued.
I have a question. Would they be able to see the availability on the website as far as accessible categories? They mean yes.
Is this something they have to call us for? Yeah, they will.
100% of the
Okay,
time?
at this moment, no. In the future, yes, they will. When the website is completely updated, they will be
Okay,
able
so
to
then-
see it on the website. Because by law, we're required to allow them to also be able to.
But they could put holds, so they could put courtesy holds on those accessibles?
Eventually they will be.
There will be.
It will
Now,
not
but
be,
yeah.
it will not be a busied out scenario. It will be open.
We actually, but you see where I'm going at with this,
Yeah.
right? The guests can actually see that there's no interiors available. We have them, but they're not available. They go ahead and ask for it anyways,
Right.
knowing that we have this policy in place and then getting the
They will get a balcony.
I mean, I completely understand all the ways that we can twist this for the revenue and for all the reasons why it doesn't really make sense in the overall perspective, but by law, this is now our policy, so we will have to, even in that scenario. Hopefully that, I didn't think about that, so hopefully.
So everybody will be asking for an inside cabinet, affectionately, so they can get a junior suite.
Well, okay, we're gonna get into that more. It has to be, as it states, hey, everyone, please pay attention. As it states right here, it has to be the next up super category, right? If it want an interior and we don't have interiors, but we have balconies and ocean views, you cannot offer a balcony. It has to be the ocean view. Now, that's gonna be the same scenario.
Okay.
An N is a better interior than an M, right? If they ask for they want an M accessible stateroom, we don't have any available, we have the N. You need to give them the N, right? It's gonna be the next one. We only jump categories whenever there's not a next super category.
So they're in they wanted a balcony thing, there's no balconies, you go up.
Right.
You can't come down, you don't go down.
Right. Even though automatically will probably be a thing to go down, you're gonna have to upgrade.
And if they're asking for an inside, there's no inside, there's no ocean view,
That's about
you go up to the balcony.
Balcony.
only when there's an
When they're crowned off the
Super
building.
category.
You pay for an interior and get a freaking balcony.
When would that stop though in the categories? Because if they're asking for an interior and all we have left is a crown loft accessible, we're gonna really jump all the way up for an interior price?
That's the next, it is the next one.
Only,
That-
okay, only the
that
next
you
one.
continue to look until you see that. And that will include, but we don't have any crown loft suites
Okay.
that we have.
So then,
What's right?
no, because the thing is, usually the accessible, people who need these rooms, they book way in advance. Now
Yeah.
they're gonna book way, they're gonna wait.
This isn't going to be, well,
Right
this has
before
been always
sailing.
the case. This has always been the scenario. It's just now against the law and we have to do it. So it was always technically the criteria for it. We should have been doing it before, just not everyone was aware of it. Yes.
Is there a way of protecting that? I mean, like, do they verify at the pier if they're gonna be handicapped for the
Whenever
people
we
that wanna
go
be safe?
through, whenever on the FAQs, which we'll get through too, because I know we're like in slide 3, and all the questions came that are further on down the line. But in the FAQ, they cannot, let's say that I did this and I gave them a falsified sheet and I went to the court, they cannot require them to pay the difference in it because you don't know their disabilities.
Even if-
You could straight up lie.
Yes.
You could straight up lie, man.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we have a question.
A person who actually needs a freaking handicap.
Same process with price adjustment, you call RSS and then they.
Yeah, and we're gonna, yes, sir. Alright, so I'm gonna continue to go through here.
Wow.
Accessible, the application, important, okay? Do not do this for Spain or anything, okay? We're looking at accessible statement price protection applies to US bookings and sailings to and from the US or stop in the US, okay? So what would be an example of one that this does not apply to?
Europe.
Right.
Mediterranean, Rome, Rome.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a US law, man.
Okay, yes. All those scenarios, this is not going to count for it. It needs to be a US booking, okay? And it needs to be a US sailing where they stop in the US, okay? Here's the process. A qualified guest with a disability requests a particular open category, okay? Category we have available. Is an accessible stateroom available in that open category, okay? If it's yes, we're gonna offer the accessible stateroom at the prevailing rate, okay? Look at the same way as you always will. Now, if there is an accessible stateroom in the same super, I said no now. Is there an accessible stateroom in the same super category? Yes, we're gonna offer the accessible stateroom at the lower of the 2 rates, okay? Or no, we're gonna offer the next available accessible stateroom in the next super category up at the lower of the 2 rates. We're always gonna be offering it at the lower of the 2 rates, okay? So in this scenario here, let me get some good categories. Okay, so they want a category M. No, we're gonna go with ocean views. So they want an I, okay, they want an ocean view stateroom. We don't have an I available. We have a, is G below?
Yeah.
G, okay. We have
G.
Alright, we have a G, okay, we do have a G available. Now, we're not gonna charge them the handicap accessible rate of the I because we don't have that available, obviously. We're gonna charge them at the G rate. So it's always gonna be the lowest of the two fares, okay?
She's higher.
Going backwards.
She's higher.
We're gonna charge them the I rate.
We gotta charge them the I
We're
rate.
gonna charge them the lower.
Start getting
of the
irate, bro. Whichever category.
Alright, this is how you're going to apply it, very simple and easy.
I got it.
We're gonna contact our RSS, Johnny Balboa, or Ziza, when you must price protect a booking with an accessible stateroom. They will note the original cruise fare, assign the accessible stateroom, special fare the booking, which the code's gonna be APP. So you're gonna need to make sure that you're checking with accessible rooms when you get callbacks to see what could happen in that scenario. And then they're gonna enter the service number, which is going to be AU, and that's gonna be accessible upgrade, price protection applied to the reservation, okay? That's going to be the process. You're not gonna be waitlisting, it's not gonna be a guarantee. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be booking that room, that stateroom, whichever one it is. And then they will go in and they'll special fare it for you. Here's an example. A qualified guest with a disability requested inside category L. If accessible stateroom is available in inside category L, offer the prevailing rate. If not available in category L, offer next available stateroom within the same super category, even if it is lower, okay? So even if it's one step down. If not available in an inside, then next super category up can be offered. In this case, accessible stateroom in outside category H at the rate of the original requested category L. Okay? How are we doing? Yes?
Just another quick question. You talk about stops with U.S. transatlantic. Does departure count as a stop? So if it went from U.S. to Europe, would that be considered a U.S. stop?
Yes.
Okay.
If it touches at any time in the US. Okay. What you're gonna need to make sure that you do as well is notate or note, just for yourself, the original fare, or the original cruise fare for that stateroom that you're gonna be looking at to make sure that everything's copacetic in between, okay? I wanna cover some of the frequently asked questions on here, which I'm gonna pass this out to you, you'll all have it. I'm just gonna wait because we're gonna take a little test on here and I don't wanna have the exact answers, okay? Very quickly, actually, this is conversation. Okay, the first one we covered here. Will guests who book accessible staterooms be required to pay the prevailing rate at check-in if they have misrepresented themselves? While we have a policy in place to address misuse of accessible staterooms, this will not be enforced at the pier because it is possible that people without disabilities have booked accessible staterooms legitimately. Also, what about whenever we're close into the sailing and those rooms are available? We can't just assume because it's open in the category for people to book.
It will be open, also available online, so they can book it,
Right.
no restrictions.
Right. I know, that is correct. Okay, what do you think that this affects in any way, shape, or form pre or post hotel packages? No, this is for cruise only though. It has nothing to do with hotel packages pre or post stay. What is the rule on downgrades to accommodate an accessible stateroom request? It will be our company policy not to downgrade a guest once they have received accessible stateroom price protected upgrade, unless we are in an oversold situation. So this is what we need to mention. Let's say I book a handicap accessible room, okay? Or like, let me actually change this up a little bit. Okay, I did. I wanted one, right? I wanted an ocean view, but they didn't have it available, so I booked a balcony accessible stateroom. Now, an ocean view handicap accessible room becomes available. We will not downgrade me into the ocean view because that's what I originally wanted. I'm gonna stay in the balcony, okay? I'm not gonna switch that up. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit of a weird one here. So what happens if there are no physical accessible staterooms built in the next super category up from the requested category? Okay, so what if we just don't have any handicap accessible staterooms? For Royal Caribbean, there is only one ship that falls into this category. It's the Legend of the Seas, okay? That's the only one. This has no accessible balcony staterooms, and there will not be any available. Now, the big thing here, why is that not going to affect us currently?
Because it's
Exactly.
not yours.
So this is not going to be an issue at any time, and two, and if ever the Legend of the Seas comes back over to the US, okay? But it is the Legend of the Seas. Might be on the test. Okay. Let's make sure we're paying attention here, because this is not the easiest of tests, you guys, because we can get sued. So it's not gonna be a test that you're gonna take, and it's gonna say, what color is the sky? You're gonna ask all these things again, because you get sued big, 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 big.
Yeah, you can.
Let's see. It doesn't affect any cruise tour bookings.
Let me ask you something. When would the guests be able to see this availability online and actually hold the rooms?
In December, the
December.
guests will have the website, the consumer website will be updated to be able to show all accessibility everywhere needed. In November, Brooklyn will be training you on the technical changes to GUI and any other systems within groups. So you'll be able to understand what should be entered and what you should be seeing along that way.
The only thing, the reason why I ask is because when that does become available for the guests to actually hold the accessible rooms or book them, I mean, if I'm a consumer, right, and I see a handicap accessible room that's an ocean view, as opposed to in the same category, I'll take the handicap accessible room because it's a larger
Right.
statement.
But
So I
what
mean,
else?
how
We send out the form, right?
right?
You don't send that form in, we need handicap accessible rooms, I'm gonna call you and I'm gonna make you change your room. So that would be the scenario in there,
Okay.
is because if they don't, between a certain amount of time, access is going to wonder why they didn't send it, and then they're gonna contact the guest.
Yeah, but if
Why didn't you send me this form back?
That's a 30-day process.
This is gonna make our system speakers.
Yeah, it's a 30-day process.
Well, not every consumer wants an accessible statement
Right.
either, because all the people that we have traveling, we have high-end clients. No one's gonna think about it and be like, oh, let me do this, when they're not like Majesty and Monarchs, people that are gonna be doing this, and.
No, but then you got people from Miami.
No, but
Yeah, but at the
no,
same
no.
time, we're not gonna let them know either, and the Miami people call within a week to get our back.
Either way, hey,
They'll
hey,
take
come on.
these.
It's just,
These rules have been in place since January 1st of 2011. We're just now getting to train you on it. So Royal Caribbean is getting on board, but Carnival, Norwegian, they've all had these rules already in place. So if they hadn't picked up on it already, or if they would have called us, we would have had to make some sort of adjustments down the line. So it's just a matter of our team actually getting on board to actually do it correctly.
Usually on the website, it only offers you about 5 cabins, the best 5 staterooms available in the midsection. How can they determine which one is having? Are they going to have to click on need a handicap room and they're going to bring all the handicap rooms available on the website, or how are they going to be able to select?
we don't have a website, it hasn't been launched,
That is a hypothetical question.
we don't have, we don't have the website yet, so I personally can't answer that question.
She'll have it by October, and at
Yeah.
that point, she could probably send out an FAQ or something before
Right,
she
nothing
trains you.
on it. From what I've heard, and that's just hearing, they'll still only be able to see a small selection, they won't be able to see all of our inventory. It'll still be, I've heard, and I could be making up these numbers like 10 or 12 stations. It'll be additional, but it won't be like 60.
Because they can hold family rooms
One thing here, does this price protection apply to restricted price programs or price promotions, okay? A restricted price program, who can give me an example of a restricted price program? Or promotion, sorry. Yes, and a price promotion, anyone can give me an example of that?
Happy hour.
OBC happy hour, exactly, okay? It is still applicable to all of that. Crown and Anchor member, they're still gonna get their $200 off if they're getting balcony, exactly. So it'll still be the same scenario.
So if there's an inside stateroom guarantee, we can give them that price for an ocean view, or it has to be like an end.
It would have to be a category that has accessible staterooms in it, but not available. So if we have them in an N,
Well, they're usually L's, for example.
right, beautiful, okay, if we have them in Ls, but we don't have Ls available accessible staterooms, then it would be the next super
But
category.
that price of the L, not a
Right,
guarantee.
not a Z, that's a good question, no, not, yeah, exactly.
But if they're like platinum
No,
and you're
you should- we
handicapped,
offer the
inside
C
and
guarantee.
then the next
You
available
get the Z
happens to be
guarantee,
a
we
balcony,
give it.
we still do not think
Always.
that platinum rate.
No.
So it's just-
Right, yes, it's right, it's gonna be a charge, yeah,
So
it's gonna be special favors. So in the system, it's gonna look like they had it.
Do we have-
It's gonna resemble that of a guarantee scenario, right, after they book a room. Hey
Yes,
guys, let's
I got a
work
question,
through this, cause one
going,
second.
going about the question that you got.
Okay.
If we have the L guarantee, usually is the inside cabin, the mechanical room. But we have the Z guarantee, we have to honor the Z guarantee protection plan, for the L.
No.
Well, that's what we do it now.
Yes, we do, we do it now.
We do it now.
Yeah. Do it now.
It should be on the category of the statement that you're looking at.
But we do it now.
We do it now, though. My question is.
Yeah, we have
do
to
it now.
honor that.
Somebody's booking a Y, you have to give them that price for whatever
If it's
category
a-
of room,
yeah.
if it's available. Same thing with the Z, if the Z is available, you have to give them the L room for the price of the Z.
I know
I do it all the time.
Right.
AZ and AY, L and G and
Right,
H, and all those are gonna fall off. You're not even gonna.
Why
What's
don't we-
that?
Oh, so they changed it, the rule that,
It's gonna be AZ, it's gonna be a
so
series.
everything is clear.
Big
Why are we
from there.
talking about the prices? Why,
I don't know, because, everything
Trying to clarify.
we have in these here, so why are we talking about the L if we're gonna have one price for?
One
Right.
price for inside, one
So,
price
okay,
for
so what's going on?
So are we seeing that, are we, because we're gonna actually have these accessible staterooms in the system, right? So I understand where it's coming from. We're gonna have let me move back to the categories. Alright, we're gonna have these categories now. So that's what you're gonna be looking at. So if you call Johnny and we don't have the AL anymore, but we have, we don't have the AZ available, we have the AY, then they're gonna be charging at the AZ. Because we're gonna have new categories now, which we didn't have before.
Okay.
So that's gonna be the difference opposed to what we had before, where we just had the guarantees.
Yeah. The reason why I think what you're getting at
Mhm.
is, are they gonna price it at the lowest interior price of
Yes.
the?
Right, the guarantee.
The super
No.
category,
It's gonna be
yes,
that category.
yes,
We're gonna be this category, we're not going on supers anymore.
these beautiful categories.
Okay, my question is, usually when there's an AZ, sometimes there's a Z guarantee
Right.
also.
That's what I'm
Are,
saying.
I know,
are
I
they
see what
both gonna be the same price, or are they gonna be any, are
I
we gonna honor the lowest rate?
can't foresee what the revenue would be on it,
Okay, well,
on the staterooms, but we will be going, if there was a Z and there's an AZ, in most cases, they're going to be going off the AZ and not the Z.
Okay.
They go off the prevailing rates and it's structured, we're gonna go for the lowest rate, yes?
I was gonna say, Sam, I just saw one of those today, and we just did one today, and it was AZ, and the price was literally the lowest rate
That's what I'm
that was available there. And so they're gonna have the rate for the AZ.
Okay.
So I did do that one.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Where are we on questions here, are we doing okay? Yep. Let's see if there's anything else.
No, I mean, it's there, because like, you're looking at AY, and Y is the guarantee, and Z is the guarantee, so it's obvious it's already there, it's showing you the guarantees.
And they're not gonna charge an accessible guest more just because it's an accessible room.
Right.
So you'll see equal pricing there.
Most likely, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Those fares of that.
Okay, one more question here, or statement really. If all accessible staterooms on a sailing are sold out, that means there's not one handicap accessible stateroom left. Are we obligated to offer the accessible stateroom price protection on a different sailing?
No.
It is only for that sailing. So if we have nothing available and you originally wanted an ocean view, if we go on to the next sail date, we're not gonna give you the balcony because the balcony is no longer available.
For the safe seat.
Oh, you wanna go on this one? Alright, how are we feeling? I know it's a lot, but we have been doing it since January 1st. Just a lot of people weren't doing it, weren't aware, not sure about it. So this will be the setup. I know it can be a little bit confusing because we don't have these new categories up. But whenever we do have these in the system, is it just?
Well, I
No,
still had a
2012 sailings
call
have
from
them.
them to
I've seen
release,
them, they're up.
but I saw the pricing, but I couldn't go into AZ, pick the cabin, and do the reservation. I actually had to call for them to release the cabin, but it was within the AZ category, it wasn't within the L or the M, whatever.
Wonderful. Alright, I'm gonna pass out this wonderful test here.
We're still gonna have to call and get the room released.
That's what it says already?
They will not be busy. They won't be busied anymore.
Yes,
You'll be able to see them book them.
You can pick them automatically.
So that's probably what you're probably
No.
But the family interior and ocean, those are super.
only two more rooms are accessible. Right now you're blocked, and going forward.
Yeah, yeah.
With your first one. Like that was a room.
The pre-build is a requirement.
Yes. Yes.
Automatic termination.
All right, look, you do the first 14. Yeah, I'm rolling microphone here.
I know. I know. Oh, okay. Oh, we know.
Is this a test?
It says test 1. Is there another test?
I put test 1 in case we do an additional test on the website.
No, I said, is this the test? Not is this easier?
It's not
For
live,
you, Judy?
but we're gonna play it back.
And one juice.
There you go.
My other trainers, you hired.
No, do you really need one, Sam?
I do.
Oh, God. Here, let me find it.
Give me half.
Oh, baby, which one do you need? Oh, no, I passed the one around. Oh, but it's 40. There's 20 minutes. Alright, who's the briefing sheet? Where's the end of the briefing sheet? At 40, you 20 people. Yeah. I know, Super good. Super good.
We all know. I'll give you the answer.
I'm looking for you, Sam. Do you have, does anyone else have an extra one?
Oh.
Is number one gonna be one answer or two?
It's just one answer, it's two, that's two.
And
And one ensure. That's two parts, one, two.
What is it?
Hey, Steve.
Which one? Oh, I think it's A. That's what it is.